What is up, YouTube? It's me, HPJ here. How are you guys doing? Well, it wouldn't be me talking about the anniversary of Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy if I didn't talk about one of the biggest shockers to my detriment as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. And one of my favorite archetypes in the franchise, definitely seen its major changes because of the release that it got in Tachyon. The Harpies are a series of wind attributed monsters, winged beast and dragon, that were released earlier on in the Yu Gi Oh card game's history. It wasn't until 2013 where the Harpies got three major support cards to support the longevity of dry era that the Harpies had received over the years. The Harpies themselves, while not being seen as anything more so than rogue level funsies, the Harpies themselves definitely came back throughout 2013 to 2015, with showing in a major array of not only playability, but the major shock factor that it gave for being probably one of the easiest budget decks of Rogue that you could possibly build, while also still trying to figure out how you can manage an extra deck that was that expensive. In Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, we received these three cards you see in front of you. Harpie Channeler, Hysteric Sign, and Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, who in the OCG was known as Harpie's Pet Mirage Dragon. Each three of these cards were definitely the major changes Harpie did not expect to get at that time. And sadly, it was very much overshadowed because they were in Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, along with the Dragon Rulers. So let's start off with Harpie Channeler. She was an ultra and ultimate rare in the set. Discard one Harpie card from your hand to special summon one Harpie monster from your deck in defense position, except Harpie Channeler. You can only use this effect of Harpie Channeler once per turn. While you control a dragon monster, this monster's level becomes 7. This card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. Hysteric Sign, continuous spell. When this card is activated, you can add one Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand during the end phase of the turn in which this card is sent from hand or field to the graveyard. You can add up to 3 cards with Harpie in their name, different from each other, amongst themselves to the hand, and you only use one Hysteric Sign effect per turn and only once that turn. Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, rank 4, Wind Attribute Dragon Exceeds Monster, requiring 3 level 4 Wind monsters. This card's effects can only be applied in Resolve while it has Exceeds material. This card can attack your opponent directly. Your opponent's monsters cannot target any Harpie cards with effects or for battle. During each of your end phases, detach one material from this card. These are sequentially the upscale changes that the Harpies definitely wanted at that period of time. We're going to start off with the big girl Harpie Channeler, who you see in the artworks of basically all 3 of these cards. She was the catalyst for reviving the Harpie archetype, as she was able to special summon the other Harpie monsters to the field, with the exception being Harpie Lady Sisters. Because yes, we're going to point this out now. While it encouraged the playabilities of level 4s, and rank 4s, and of course the occasional dragon into rank 7s, this was another breakthrough area in which Harpies did not care for Harpie Lady Sisters. And while many people were thinking, well, maybe eventually later on in the year we'll get that, we didn't, because the other release for Harpies that year was Harpie Dancer, who she became a major playthrough for it. Fun fact, Harpie Dancer was released only not too long after Harpie Channeler, Hysteric Sign, and Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon released in the OCG, as she was the V-Jump promo for that year. That's right. Harpies were getting a major wave of stuff that year. Not only were they getting this new support, they were getting another monster, they were getting reprints out the ass, and even more so, Harpie Dancer and Harpie's Phoenix Formation both got printed that same year as well. I won't I have to mention Phoenix Formation only due to the fact that it was a target for Hysteric Sign, but it was ultimately not really a good card for the Harpie archetype. But I can say that for its own video. Harpie Chandler's main assistance to this deck is simply this in this only. Special summon your other Harpies, summon Dragon, and then figure out which way you want to go for the Exceed summon. Do you want to go for the rank 7s or do you want to go for the rank 4s? Most people opted into the rank 4s, but always kept that one dragon in the deck so you can go into the rank 7s. This is kind of where you hear the term brick, because Harpies definitely had two. Harpie Sisters and Harpie's Pet Dragon. And as much as I love Harpies, I really did not like having to run Dragon because holy shit, now I have to run you. And while yes, Tempest would have been a great addition to this deck to, discard the Dragon to then search, please exactly explain to me, outside of another Tempest, what were you going to search for? Because let's be really honest, you're not going to search for a Harpie type baby dragon. And as much as I wanted to play that card in this deck, it was already a struggle there. I think even more so the fact that until Harpie Dancer came out, you were really just only sitting on baby dragon to basically say, hey, look, attack this card instead. Because I still need to go draw into my Hysteric Sign and hopefully draw an Egotist before then to summon another monster. Oh, and then that you don't kill the dragon so that I can swarm up the field. Yeah, it was that much of a damn. This little guy is going to be this much of a problem. I might as well just keep running the big one. And just for a record there, the Harpie's Pet Dragon, up until its re-release, its reprint in Joey's World, was $100. Because the Forbidden Memories was the only... Forbidden Memories and Retro Pack were the only two reprints that the TCG had. So unless you had already bought Lord of the Tachyon Gap... unless you had already had Harpie's Pet Dragons, yeah, you were literally going to pay a pretty penny. I luckily had one dragon, and I was looking for more, and then luckily traded off my dragon so I can get multiple pet dragons. I don't regret getting rid of that Forbidden Memories Harpie's Pet Dragon that I had, because I still have the other pet dragons that I can still play around with, and plus commons, because it did years later come out as a common. And then got a reprint, and then got multiple variations of itself. It got one major retrain, but the retrain is just way better. Let's just be real. Harpie's Pet Dragon First on Fire is just a way better version of Harpie's Pet Dragon. It doesn't gain any attack points, but it still has better, abilities and setups too, than the original dragon. But Chandler, for the most part, yeah, she had so many targets that she could summon off of her effect. It was even crazy. Harpie Lady, Harpie Queen. She can go get Dancer when Dancer got released. It was just so many things she could do. And it was literally just because of the fact she was this deck summoner monk. And ultimately became the cornerstone of Harpie decks to go moving on forward. Hysteric Sign. I love this card. I love this card so much. Adding Elegant Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Then being able to allow you to send it from hand or field to the grave, to then add up to 3 additional cards that have Harpie in their name to your hand. As long as they're different from each other, you can add those cards, which is only a small pool at that initial time, but then ultimately became bigger of a pool later on, because as the years progressed, we did get more targets. We got Harpie Dancer, we had Harpie's Phoenix Formation. I know, that's a card. Harpie Harpist, Harpie Perfumer, Harpie Oracle. We just got so much to play around with Hysteric Sign. So it was ultimately why I can see this card being subjugated to one effect per turn, because if you were able to use both effects, wow, it would have been extremely broken. Like, I'm going to activate this, get my sign, and then I'm going to, eat my ego and then pop it. Because I'm going to search their interface. And considering that, 1, 2, 3, 4 years later, we got Harpie's Featherstorm. I think a lot of people would have been happy to know that they did not have to worry about this card. And if people were really ultimately putting in Hysteric Sign to play around with it, they were probably going to do such to let it get popped, or you pop an effect to get off other beneficial effects so that you can then go for Harpie's Featherstorm. Because RIP to Harpies Featherstorm. It's banned currently in the TCG. Outside of that, really, this was probably one of the most unique and most needed Harpy spells that we could have ever acted for, allowing Elegant Egotist to finally be searched for, because for over a decade, since the TCG had Yu-Gi-Oh, we were not able to search for Elegant Egotist. Took it long enough. And then also I love the artwork because this is Hysteric Line is literally the effect of Harpy channeling. She's searching for her other Harpy kin, or she's summoning the ever faithful servant to then be able to defend the Harpies and assist them in combat. Speaking of the faithful servant, let's talk about Harpy's pet Phantasmal Dragon. So this monster requires 3 cards. If you had the proper setup, you could activate Chandler, discard a card, go get a Harpy, summon, play Hysteric Sign, go get Ego, and then go into your Phantasmal Dragon. Because that's literally what you were supposed to do. The thing is that it wasn't as easy as you think it sounds, because more so, Modern Yu-Gi-Oh probably can execute this a lot faster. Why Modern Yu-Gi-Oh chose not to? Well, because there are a lot of cards that just massively remove monsters or massively shut down effects. And even though Phantasmal Dragon says you can't target your Harpy cards, you can still shut down multiple effects with cards like Skill Drain or multiple monster effect or massive removal like Raigeki and Dark Hole, which Harpies don't have any negation or protection around that. Yeah, they don't. So ultimately, it became a, well, we're going to use this. Why? Because it can attack directly. It still protects our Harpies from being targeted for battle or card effects. So effects like Valor and stuff won't work on it. Maxi will still work because that's special summoning. That doesn't target. But ultimately, it was just a way to protect your Harpies, swing in for the damage that you could directly. And if you could spam maybe 3 Harpy Lady 1s, you can get this thing to 2900 attack and just poke your opponent up until game. Because that's what a lot of people did try to do. It was overkill, but hey, it was an option. And I love the fact that the Harpies themselves really just had these 3 cards waiting around for them, and only a matter of time before the release. Now, there were a lot of easy things you could do with this. There were tons of targets, duh, because we know the targets with Hysteric Sign. I mean, if you want me to just go through them, we have, while it was still banned, Harpies Feather Duster. We had Harpies Hunting Ground, Elegant Egotist off of its own search. Then we had Queen, we had Harpy Lady 1, you could play Harpy, Cyber Harpy Lady, Vanilla Harpy Lady, I mean, that was more so of things that to come later, and then just more so of the factor that, yeah, up until, you know, was it, as the years progressed, we got Dancer, Harpist, Oracle Perfumer, and stuff like that. So Hysteric Sign had targets. It's just that its range of targets evolved while the archetype itself evolved. And even more so, I just want to bring up Hysteric Party, because Hysteric Party itself, here are 2 Hysteric cards doing all the major work. Party to swarm the field, go into the exceeds, go into the major pushes, and Hysteric Sign just there to help set up with things and grabbing cards as well. Just what a year it was to be a Harpy player. It really was. Major reprints, 3 new release, no, 5 cards. I'm going to include Phoenix. And it's just the overwhelming things that 2013 did. I have to honestly say 2013 was that year. I even taught some tournaments thanks to the Harpies and the wave of things that were going on. Too bad my extra deck was kind of a shit show, but hey, things happen. Chidori in Zero Fine were cheap, and I got them as cheap as I did, and thankfully was smart enough to get them as early as I did. Zero Fine was rare at that time, so that also wasn't an issue either. And then just looking at the longevity, having the friends that I had to let me borrow their Draco Sacks, not their one big eye here and there, and then ultimately getting my Master of Blades, because that was really what I did. I just got my Master of Blades and was like, hey, look, here's your Draco, here's your big eye. I'm just going to go ahead and play around with my Master of Blades for a while. Till the reprints came and I traded off for getting my big eyes and my Draco Sacks myself. So yeah, that's it, guys, for this video on the Harpy cards from Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. I really just, this was my growth. This was my growth. And I will forever be indebted to these 3 cards and how they changed my favorite archetype. Shout outs to all the amazing support cards Harpie had over the years. And don't worry, I have a video to talk about that coming out soon. By the end of June, we will see such. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out tremendously. Hit that notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content. My socials are in the description box below. And I'll catch you all next time. HPJ, signing out. Bye-bye.